The Gameday Broadcast Network is proud to present Gameday All-Access worldwide online at GamedayMagazine.com with host Andy Hayes.
He's got some running room for him. Makes a cut. Past midfield. He's gone. 30, 20, 10. Goal line. Touchdown.
And Bruce Bornarth.
Jet down the sideline. End zone. Touchdown.
Gameday All-Access is proudly presented by Integrated Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy. Get back in the game of life, the game on the field. Manhattan Pizza, now serving Ashburn, South Riding, and Leesburg with the best dang pizza in the world. By Max Muscle Sports Nutrition. Max Muscle, partners in health. By Online Mental Trainer, Optimal Thinking, Champion Results. Visit ReadWriteTechnology.com. Verizon Wireless, the exclusive wireless network of the Gameday Broadcast Network. Gameday All-Access. Become a Gameday MVP member today and never miss another big game. Phenom Strength and Conditioning, where athletes train to exceed expectations. You've now been granted a Gameday All-Access pass. Now let's join the worst prognosticators in high school sports on the Gameday Broadcast Network.
Welcome to another episode of Gameday All-Access. Andy Hayes alongside Bruce Bornarth. And today, Taylor Jensen joining us. You know, back from retirement. We pulled you out of retirement. How you doing, young fella?
Doing good. Been a while. Scenery's changed a little bit, but doing well.
You like the new set?
Yeah, I really like it. Looks like you had a little remodeler come in here and do some work.
Yeah, her name is Helene Shane, our producer. She did all this. Brucey, how you doing, man?
Doing great. I need a riser in my seat here.
Yeah, I know. He's really making you look a lot shorter than normal. That's right.
I keep getting the one with the squishy cushions.
That's right. We'll have to take care of that next time. Put some books underneath you or something. All right, it's time now for us to take a look back at last week's first round of the 2012 football playoffs, and we'll start by punching the rewind button on Oakton. And Oakton, by chance, just had the biggest win of the week. They go on the road and they take on Caleb Henderson and the Lake Braddock Bruins. They come away victorious 20-13. Bruce, nobody gave Oakton any chance to win this game. Nobody thought that they really could beat Caleb Henderson and the Bruins, who had won at that point, I believe, 8 straight games. This was a team that went in losing 4 straight, talking to Oakton here. They were on a skid. How'd they do this?
Well, they went back to the way they started the season. If you remember, Oakton was one of the early preseason favorites here, and maybe a shot before we knew about Westfield to contend and possibly win the Concord District. So Oakton's always been a good football team. It's just been this season that season of inconsistency, and unfortunately for the Cougars, that inconsistency seemed to stretch over multiple games instead of multiple winning streaks and a loss. It seemed like it was multiple losing streaks and then a win, but you scratch your head. Hey, when's the best time to turn it on? It's in the second season, and maybe if you're the Cougars, you kind of look at it and say, all right, this is a whole new opportunity. The slate is clean. We're going to go back to the way we started the season and prove to everybody that we are for real, and so far they are.
Yeah, this win can also be chalked up to coaching, in my opinion. I think Jason Riley and his team did a tremendous job, and their staff out there, and they put a great game plan together. And the other thing they did is they moved Kyle Downer over on defense as well. He played safety in this game, and Mike Wandy, their starting tailback, played linebacker in this game. And then they got one guy by the name of Joe Alley. You haven't heard us talk about him much because he's been hurt all season. This he's a great football player. He came back from injury in this game, and he dominated. I mean, he stood out big. So that defense got a big boost with 3 outstanding athletes playing over 2 guys that came from offense. Now, Oakton's numbers are a little bit down compared to what the other Concord teams are. So they didn't have a lot of flexibility during the season to put Downer over there and Wandy over there. But by doing that, they put their best athletes on the field. And that really made a difference against Henderson in this offense. So great coaching move. They're going to be playing a little bit of a high-risk game doing that against Centerville this week. But I expect to see it again. And that's a great coaching move because, hey, you realize you're one and done. So Oakton lives to play another day. They'll take on the Wildcats here coming up this week. Chantilly, let's talk about the Chargers. Now, we said can't beat a team twice. Look out, Chantilly. Robinson's going to get you. You beat them by 20 points the first time. No way that's going to happen again. Okay, hey, Hayes and Bornarth, you guys are ridiculously stupid because they beat them 56-21 this time.
Only beat them by 35 this time.
Yeah, only 35. Taylor, big win for Chantilly.
Oh, without a doubt. And one thing that kind of crossed my mind when I saw Robinson squeaked into the postseason, kind of a mediocre record, let's be honest. you almost didn't know what Robinson's team was going to show up, because you see Robinson give Westfield, I believe it was, a run for their money earlier in the year. So you kind of got to wonder, it's almost a flip of a coin for which Robinson team is going to show up in the postseason. Unfortunately, Robinson, that seems to struggle against Premier, especially Concord teams, struggle. Then they go out there and lose, like you said, by 35. So unfortunately, Robinson, just when you think they're starting to get it together, they just can't put it together consistently, and then it carries over into the postseason like it usually does for most teams.
Yeah, and I got to really say this is a credit to Chantilly, too, and those kids, because last year that might have gone a different direction. But the kids that are the core of this team this year, they're different, and they're different in a better way. Better leadership, better chemistry, better want to, as I call it. They were not going to allow Robinson to beat them at home. Now they've set up the game of all games, the playoff game that they've been wanting, a rematch with Westfield. Let's talk about Westfield for a second. Westfield had West Springfield in the first round. It took them about 20 seconds to start making this game look ugly. Westfield rolls 49-7 over West Springfield. Bruce, this is a team that's looked dominant all season long. The only game where they haven't looked like themselves was against Chantilly. So what do you say about that? I mean, again, took care of business, right?
Well, there was a lot of wonder about Westfield going into this season because of what they graduated last year, wondering what the season was going to be like, wondering what the coaching staff was going to do with the changes there, wondering what was going to happen in the backfield with the changes there. You know what? There's no wonder anymore. Westfield has proven through 11 games now that they are one of those teams that it's going to be hard for anybody to beat them the rest of the way through. I mean, they're just on a roll like that. The appropriate tagline in here, Westfield rolls, is so true, and I don't know that this season, I don't know if there's a team out there that can beat them.
Well, we're going to find out. I think the team that might have the best shot at them is coming into town this week. All right, Stonebridge, another team that has just been cruising along here, whipping everybody. And they whipped up on Edison 69-7. This game wasn't close. Ryan Burns threw for over 300 yards in this game. I believe he had 6 touchdowns in the first half. Stonebridge just waxing people right now. Hey, we're going to have a question in our mailbag segment about how good they are, but they're pretty darn good, Bruce.
When can Stonebridge play Westfield this year? I know they've played in the past, but this is a year that you'd really love to see that game. And the same thing. I'll go out and say it. I don't think there's anybody that's going to beat Stonebridge up in this area. I don't know that they'll even be challenged till maybe that state championship game against the Beach.
Well, we'll find out because South County's still in it. They had a big upset win at Madison, which we talked about. And South County's that one team. Look out. Athletically, they might be able to match up with the Bulldogs here. All right, my game down in Haymarket turned into a snooze fest with regard to points because it was 17-0. Battlefield scored them early and then just shut the door on Woodbridge. I mean, their defense, every time Woodbridge got in the red zone, it just locked the door and said, nope, can't score. And so Woodbridge falls out of the postseason. Battlefield sets up a huge rematch with Hilton. Isn't it weird how history repeats itself? I mean, it's like every year these games happen. I mean, and the storylines, we'll talk about it more, but, I mean, it's just a little bit eerie. So Battlefield with a 17-0 win, that's impressive. And how about Liberty going on the road and beating Sharando 27-10? Taylor, this was the first win for Liberty over Sharando since 2004. Wow.
Don't think that they didn't know that going into the game either. They had a chip on their shoulders, and really they played like it too. I mean, you go out there, they didn't just beat Sharando. I mean, they waxed them. And they've kind of established their legitimacy in their division that they really are a contender here. Liberty, you'd think that with the coaching change and all these different things that were changing over the course of the last year would kind of set them back a little bit. But it seems like they've kind of picked it up. They started slow, but they've really picked it up now. And now, I mean, they've taken out Sharando, and they're just starting to slowly but surely get back to being the Liberty that everybody's used to seeing.
Well, we'll see if they can be the old Liberty that we've seen against Briarwoods. But that could be a game. Remember, a couple years ago, Bruce, you called this game. It was 7-0, and it was a hard-fought game. So I guarantee you, Charlie Pearson and his club over across the way, they're expecting that kind of game here coming into town on Friday. All right, final game to talk about here before we get to Bruce's game, and that's Centerville taking care of West Potomac. We talked last week about Centerville being much better than they were when they lost to West Potomac. And West Potomac not really taking that next step after they had beaten Centerville. And so that's really what kind of proved true here in this ball game. A.J. Turner, another monster game. I really think he may be the best overall football player on all sides of the ball in this area that I've seen this year. He's that good. And they got after Des Moines Pearsonell, held him in check, and they cruised along here. That sets up a rematch with Oakton in an explosive game a couple weeks ago. They beat them 49-28. But this Centerville team is one win away with all of these sophomores from playing for another Northern Region championship. That's impressive, isn't it?
Well, I think Centerville defines the second season this year. A very young team, a lot of question marks going in. All right, when's the future for this team? And it looks like the future is not next year. The future is the second season this year. This is a team that through the course of the season has really matured. They've gotten better each week. And I have to believe that it's got to be a pretty smart bunch of athletes on this team to be able to do that and improve and comprehend and learn from their mistakes. Because what you don't see this team making the same mistakes over and over again. Right. They learn and correct.
Yeah, and they're getting great coaching out there. They got some great talent. I mean, Centerville is lights out. Folks, trust me when I tell you this, next couple years, you're not going to want to see the Wildcats. It's going to be some good times out there for Centerville High School. All right, final game to talk about here, the Briarwoods Falcons. Slow start, Bruce. Slow start. We looked at the scoreboard going, what the heck's going on? Powhatan came in here, and they started a pretty decent first quarter against Briarwoods. Second quarter, close game. And then Briarwoods pulled away. What was the difference in this one?
Well, this is a rematch from last year. Different round. Last year was the regional championship game. Briarwoods winning at 21-7, but pulling away late in the game. That game was tight last year as well. But this year, it should have been 14-0 Powhatan early on. Powhatan had a touchdown call back for a holding call or a block in the back that happened 20 yards after the ball had passed the point of that infraction. So it had no effect on the play. That got called back. Briarwoods turned the ball over, I think, 3 possessions in a row. It was 3 turnovers in the first half, 2 interceptions, 1 inside the 10-yard line. So it looked like you're going, Briarwoods was 37-3 on a 24-game winning streak going into that game, and you wonder, is this the week that they're not going to play their kind of game as good as they're capable of playing? Is this the week that they stumble, and this the week that the streak ends? Certainly at halftime you thought so. But then the difference, you asked me, Cam Serenay. Cam Serenay had a game for the ages. He had a career in one night. Caught a touchdown pass with 4 seconds to go in the first half to tie it up at 7. Scored twice in the second half, 1 on offense, 1 on a defensive interception. Moved him to fullback in the I formation. He cleared holes for the running backs all second half, and he was dominant on defense. Cam Serenay was the difference in that game.
Well, and he's going to have to be moving forward, because the one thing that went bad for Briarwoods in this game, aside from the first couple of quarters, they lost Matt Rowland for the rest of the season to a knee injury. Matt, we're thinking about you out there. Hope you're doing all right. But that's going to be a key question mark. How big is his absence with regard to how great a chance Briarwoods has at three-peating here coming down the road? That's it for the Rewind. We'll talk about that when we come back here in Inside the Huddle next on Gameday All-Access.
Hey Hayes, high school football's back. Who's going to be the best team in Ashburn?
I don't know, Carl. I'm not touching that one either, buddy. That's highly controversial right now.
Hey, didn't you win a Picks of the Week last year?
Hey, yeah, that's accurate, Carl. Hey, it's hard to be a champion. I'm working hard in the offseason here to repeat this fall.
Hey, I heard a rumor that your producer, Helene, is the one that wins that every year.
You know what they say about rumors, Carl? Only some of them are true.
So what's it going to take, Hayes, for you to defend your championship?
Well, the thing is, Carl, only a select few have what it takes to be a champion, and the knowledge of how they get to that point is highly proprietary. I can't share that with you.
Yeah, whatever.
High school football fans, don't miss Gameday All-Access each week online at GameDayMagazine.com. Dive into the area's best storylines and break down the biggest games to get you ready for the Friday night lights. Gameday All-Access, weekdays online at GameDayMagazine.com. There's only one Gameday.
4G LTE has the fastest speeds. So let's talk about coverage. Based on this chart, who would you choose?
Wow.
Just take a minute.
Verizon, hands down.
I'm going to show you guys another chart.
Pretty obvious.
I don't think color matters.
Pretty obvious. What's pretty obvious about it?
Verizon has the coverage.
Verizon.
Verizon.
We're going to go to another chart.
It doesn't really matter how you present it.
I tell you what.
It doesn't matter how you present it. Verizon. More 4G LTE coverage than all other networks combined.
We're back here on Game Day All-Access. Time now for Inside the Huddles. We chase down the hot topics here on Week 13 here of the 2012 football season. I mean, I can't believe we're already down the back stretch here, but it's coming. All right, Taylor playing quarterback here today, tallest quarterback in town, Bruce. Hopefully we'll be able to see the ball come out because he's throwing it awful high up there. Go ahead.
All right, well, first one up, we're going to pick right up where we left off. Obviously, Friday night shockwaves throughout Division IV. You could argue all of Virginia High School League when Briarwood's SEC-bound linebacker Matt Rowland goes down with a knee injury. Fact or fiction, Falcons will not repeat without Matt Rowland.
This is a tough one to answer. And I'll say this. They can repeat for the third time, so it'll be a three-peat. But the one thing that I noticed when Matt Rowland was out early in the season, Bruce, and you probably can talk about this too, is the defense was good, but it wasn't great. There were some opportunities for the opposing teams to exploit the defense more so. When Matt Rowland came back, there was nothing. I mean, he dominated. So now you take the most dominating player you have out of the equation, and now there may be some opportunities. So it's going to be tougher for Briarwoods. I really believe that. Now, you saw who they put in, and I'll let you talk about that for a second. But I think the challenge is for that Briarwoods defense, they're going to see some teams that have good enough coaching, that have good enough players to take advantage of the fact that number 9 is not in there.
Well, you're right, and there's no question that Matt Rowland is dominant players, as dominant can be in the area. He is a shutdown game changer on defense. He's a kind of defensive player that offenses have to scheme around and away from if they want to have any kind of success. But, Andy, you're right. When he was out early in the season, Briarwoods gave up first downs. They gave up field position, or I should say didn't take advantage of early 3-and-outs, changing the field, putting their offense in a shorter field. It was longer fields. But having said that, the defense still wasn't giving up a lot of points, and that's the most important stat out there is how many points are you giving up? They were still pitching shutouts, and you could argue that it was part of some of the tougher part of the schedule. The Broad Run game was in there at that point at Broad Run this year. So, yes, is it going to be felt? Absolutely. Does it diminish the chances? I don't think by a whole lot. Let's not forget, Charlie Pierce, the head coach, is a defensive guru. That's where he made his bones, so to speak, coming up as a younger coach. So you talk about offensive scheming. I think Briarwoods will scheme the defense also. They got a couple of guys that come in and out that took his place in that game that, while they're not Matt Rowland, that's still going to make that a stout defense.
I mean, I tell you what, just looking ahead, I mean, they got a tough couple games coming here in the semifinals and moving ahead to the championship round if they get past the region here. And I even think the game, if they were to see a good running team like a Tuscarora, where I did that game and Matt Rowland was dominant in that game, Tuscarora could not run the football whatsoever. So I know what his impact is. I'm going to say that it's a fact. I think his impact is great enough that somebody may beat this team because he's not in there.
Well, it'll definitely be interesting to see how Briarwoods is going to compensate for the loss of Rowland. But next up, we've been hearing a lot about this on the Twitter sphere. A lot of people saying that we need to give Oakton some more respect. With that being said, fact or fiction, Bruce, Oakton deserves more respect. I know this is a touchy subject with you, so I'm trying to toss to you softly.
Just so you understand, the Twitter sphere is kind of like the atmosphere in Twitterville. You understand?
I got that. I got the sphere
out?
Thing. I took science. I got the sphere thing.
Okay, all right. This is so you knew. It's very similar to the atmosphere, but go ahead.
It's like the cloud.
Yeah.
You think I knew that one, did you? Gotcha. For this week, it's a fact. Oakton deserves more respect. They had probably the upset of the week in the area and maybe in the greater regional area, maybe the upset of the week in the state. Yes, I think Oakton deserves a little more respect this week. Problem is they were 4-0 or 0-4 going into that game. What's going to happen next week? Are they going to be able to back it up and sustain the respect? But for now, yes, Cougars, you got to respect.
Yeah, and they beat a good football team. I mean, that's all you can ask for in the playoffs. I mean, Oakton probably feels like we never give them respect because we're always picking against them and saying they're pretenders and this and that. But, there have been years where we picked Oakton all the time, right? And so if you go back to 2008, I mean, nobody picked against you. We thought Oakton was the best football team in the state of Virginia, and I think if Chris Coyer hadn't gone down, they would have been, and they would have beaten Oscar Smith that year. Look, they have a tough time against Centerville and Westfield and even Chantilly this year. They're going to have to go through those teams to win a Northern Region. So do they get more respect? Like Bruce said, fact, they deserve it this week. But that respect has to carry into the next game, which is against Centerville. And if the changes they made on defense work and they beat Centerville, then major kudos.
Well, obviously Oakton's got a case of the Rodney Dangerfield effect. So, I mean, I don't know. I think they need to get over. You guys are still in it. You guys got respect from everybody.
Be happy. That's right. You're still playing.
Next up, Fact or Fiction. Skyline, a team that seems to be building some momentum here, but they're in trouble with Kettle Run, according to some. So I want to toss this over to Andy. Is this a fact or fiction? Do you think Skyline is going to have enough?
They're in trouble. Fact, they're in trouble. I'll say this to you, 28-6. And the 6 came from a blocked field goal return for a touchdown. That's all they scored against Kettle Run's defense. Now, that game was earlier in the season, okay, midway point, whatever you want to call it. Now we have a rematch. They're in trouble. Kettle Run is hot. They've lost a couple, but since that point, they've beaten some quality opponents. So I'm going to say this to you, Skyline. This is where you earn that number 1 seed. You kind of got it by default. Western Albemarle was not supposed to lose the last week of the season. They did. You're number 1. Now Kettle Run's coming to you. But I don't think you're the favorite. I think upset alert all the way in this one. Fact, Skyline is in trouble this week.
I think it's a fact as well. I think the one team that I look at in the area that ended last season and began this season with this theme of unfinished business, I think it's Kettle Run. I think Kettle Run is kind of disappointed, a lot disappointed in the way last season ended, and I don't think they're going to let that happen again, especially this early in the playoffs. It's only round 2 for them. I think Kettle Run has focus now.
All right, next topic, Oakton, Chantilly. I want you guys to listen very carefully to what these two say. Notice I'm not taking any sides here. The Westfield
you played in the middle. I got you.
That's why I'm saying
smart.
Westfield Centerville game will happen next weekend. Andy?
Oh, this is tough to say before our pick segment because I haven't quite made up my mind yet. There is a high likelihood that game will happen next week.
That is the most neutral answer you could
I'm going to say fact.
give.
I'm going to say fact. I do believe that if you're picking this week, if you're playing the game and you're picking the favorites are Centerville and Westfield. Doesn't always work out that way, but I believe this rematch will take place next week at Westfield High School.
I think it's a fact, and I think it comes to what I just said about Kettle Run, and I think it's focus. Both of these teams, Westfield and Centerville, have to focus tunnel vision on this week's game first to get to next week. They don't even want to know who they're lined up to play against next week. Blinders on. And I think if they do that, and if both of these teams play to their capabilities and play to their abilities, then I think it will happen.
The interesting part about this question is some would think, well, maybe Chantilly, doesn't have a chance against Westfield, and Centerville, who could lose to Oakton. Centerville was 21 points better than Oakton the first time they met. That's a lot of points, right? And they blew them out in the second half. Chantilly almost beat Westfield. If it weren't for a pass interference call late, they would have won that game. So it might be Westfield that's almost a little bit, on the fence and not making it out of this round. You got to be careful if you're Westfield here. Chantilly, they're coming in with a mission. They've been circling this opportunity since that game.
And it's happened before. It won't be the first time.
It's happened 3 times in the playoffs. That's right. We'll talk about that in our picks. Go ahead.
All right, well, next up, we got a team that, when you talk about powerhouse teams, you hear a lot about the Westfields, the Stonebridge, the Centervilles. The team that you don't really hear a lot about is Battlefield, and they've really kind of dominated the Northwest region. So with that being said, fact or fiction, Battlefield is going to win the Northwest region again. Bruce, I'll let you take it.
Is it the playoffs? Fellas, are we in the playoffs?
We're in the playoffs.
Are we in the second season?
Playoffs?
Who are we talking about? Are we talking about the Bobcats?
We're in the playoffs. We're talking about Battlefield.
That's a fact. That's a fact. I mean, if Battlefield takes care of business this week, I believe they have the winner of Colonial Ford Stonewall Jackson game.
Yes.
So I see Battlefield.
So you're saying that they're going to beat Hilton and win the Northwest region? I mean, because you think the winner's coming from that game this week?
Is it the playoffs?
It's the playoffs.
Is it Battlefield?
It's Battlefield.
Is it second season?
Yeah.
A lot of people, especially Oakton and Robinson fans, will agree with this. I might not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm going to tell you what. I know when I beat my head on the wall enough times, it's going to hurt. And I'm not going to beat my head on the wall or stick my hand in boiling water and find out if it's hot or not when it comes to Battlefield.
Look, I think it's still fact. I said this on the show on Game Day Final a couple weeks ago. I think they're the best team in Division 6 in the playoffs, just like you said. Coaching-wise, they just do different things. And Mark Cox, I have a great amount of respect for him. I think what he does with this team when it gets past the regular season is maybe the best in the whole state. I mean, he can take your athletic advantage, and they do have some disadvantages, Battlefield does, when they play other teams. I mean, Woodbridge had better athletes overall. You know, when they play Hilton, they're going to be at a disadvantage. But he neutralizes that from a game planning standpoint and a scheming standpoint. And the great thing about the Battlefield kids is they get it. They execute what he's trying to get them to do. And it's different stuff than what Hilton saw in the first time they saw him this season where they won 10-0. So I think I think they're in trouble. It's upset alert for them this week. And if they play Stonewall again, I think Battlefield beats them by 2 touchdowns. It's just my opinion. So, you know, I'm taking Battlefield. I like that. That's a fact. I think they're the best team.
All right, well, this is the last topic we got here. I don't know who's typing these up, but these are bold. The best game this week is the Battle of Leesburg 2.
There you go. Tuscarora and Loudoun County. Bruce, man, the Raider Riot, they're fierce right now. They're fired up, right? The Tusky Terror going back and forth in the Twittosphere. We just talked about that, what that is. It's all over the place. There's going to be a little bit of hatred in the air for these, you know, guys to come together on Friday night. They're not going to like each other when it comes 7 o'clock Friday night. This is a big game.
Well, let me see if I can explain myself, because I don't want this to be taken wrong. I think it's fiction. Now, and I'm going to tell you why. I think that it is a candidate, and it could be the game of the week. It could be the battle of the week. But it's not the only battle of the week. I look at the picks that we're going to get to in the next segment, and I only have 2 games in all of the picks that we have of, 10 games or so, that would not be a candidate, I don't think, for the best game of the week. And with all due respect, it's the Stonebridge game and the Briar Woods game. Every other game in that list, you look at it, you could make an argument on either side, which we have done with some of the games matchups, that could be the game of the week. Oakton Centerville, Chantilly Westfield, you know, South County Yorktown. That's an undefeated Yorktown team still, right? No,
right.
They lost one.
No, they're undefeated.
No, they're still undefeated.
Right.
You go all up and down the whole list. Colonial Fort, Stonewall. And by the way, Hampton Phoebus, come on.
Yeah, I'll say fiction. It's not the best game of the week, but it could be the best game to go back and watch.
Possibly.
It could be. It was a 14-point win for Tuscarora first time around. Might be closer this time. It might be an instant classic. We will televise it for you, so we'll have it to go back and check out next week here on All Access.
Now, I will say this. I think in a couple seasons, if things keep going the way they're going with Tuscarora and County, that could be one of the premier rivalries in Loudoun County.
Yeah, but we can't play that at the same time they play Stonebridge Broad Run and Chantilly Westfield. That's what happens in the regular season. It's always on the same week as Stonebridge Broad Run, and now in the postseason, it's Chantilly Westfield week. You can't compare to that. And Battlefield Hilton, I mean, same type of deal. All right, it's time now for our spirit battle here. Bruce, let's throw it out there. Spirit battle first time around was won by Westfield. Chantilly kids were so upset about that they gave away the sign they made with me. I mean, that was a big part of this, right? I mean, Westfield came to play, they brought it, and they won on the road. Any chance that the Purple Platoon can come away with an upset and do it on the road as well? What do you think?
It's going to be a shocker to you. I'm going to say, I don't think so. I don't. I'm going to tell you why, because Westfield pretty much has brought it all season long. Chantilly, you kind of been up and down a little bit. You didn't bring it on the road a couple of times this year. And I don't think that kind of emotion, that kind of excitement is something that you can turn on and turn off like a light switch, what you're going to have to do and planning to do. I don't see Chantilly taking over the Westfield parking lot like they did in years past.
Yeah, there must be something else going on Friday night for Chantilly kids, because maybe it's a chess tournament or something, or maybe a badminton tournament. I don't know. There's something else, because
card counting in the library. I don't know.
There's something else. They're watching TV, or they're doing something, because I've seen games where the numbers just don't equate to a Chantilly crowd on the road. You know,
I think Duck Dynasty is on Friday nights.
Yeah, there might be some good stuff on, right? Maybe it's something on TV. I don't know, but I don't know Chantilly. I mean, When you went to Oakton, it was one sliver of the stands filled up. I mean, to think that you're going to go to Westfield and beat Westfield at home, who by far has been the best student section non-stop all year long, it's not happening. It's just not happening. I mean, you'd have to show us that you even care about football at Chantilly anymore. I mean, that's by doing that, you pack the stands like it was back in 07. In 07, there was nowhere to stand, nowhere to sit. It was that crowded. Now, if it's that way, Chantilly's got a shot.
Part of the difference is that was a day game. This is a night game.
No,
as well.
This was a night game during the regular season. This was a night game. I know which one you're talking about.
I'm talking about
you're talking about 06.
The playoff game, yes.
If it's 06, 07 like, Chantilly can win the Spirit Battle. But if it's like it was during the regular season, I'm sorry. But Dog Pound wins this going away. Well, so maybe there's something good on TV, Chantilly.
Chantilly, you guys want to get all upset with us about calling it like it is. Do something about it. Come out Friday night at Westfield, take over their parking lot like Bruce was saying. I mean, I was at one game for y'all this year, and it was against Westfield. I expected something electric, and I look over at the visiting stands, and they blew y'all out of the water flat out.
I mean, even Bruce knows about DVRs, right? If there's something good on TV, record it. Come to the game. Might be something good on TV Friday, Bruce.
If it's on TV once, one thing I've learned about cable with all these channels, it's going to be on again. But this game's not going to be on again to be live. I digress. But there's something about a sporting event that to watch it live, even if you don't know the results and you watch it on tape later, is it just me or it just doesn't have that same feel, does it?
Well, you only go to high school once. You need to be at this game.
If
there's 2,500, well, some people go twice. Bruce. But bottom line is you need to come to this game. All right, that's it for our Spirit Battle, and that's it for Inside the Huddle. We'll see you next time here on Game Day All Access. No, just kidding. We're coming back. It's the Picks of the Week coming up, and I am still beating Bruce and our producer, Helene. Shane Taylor doesn't play anymore, so he's just a fill-in there. We'll give you our picks right after this. Come on back.
GameDayMagazine.com is your source for high school sports. Game Day offers unprecedented broadcasting, including local high school football. Members can watch games live or catch the excitement at their leisure with on-demand action of area teams. There's daily coverage, in-depth analysis, and over 250 live and on-demand games. Visit GameDayMagazine.com for unprecedented coverage of high school football. Game Day, your team, anytime. GameDayMagazine.com.
Trust is one of those things that's earned, and at Max Muscle we're really very concerned about the relationship we have with individuals, whether they're the student athlete, their parents, coaches, administrators, because we take very seriously that commitment to children. What we're doing is saying help your student, your athlete, your coach, your parent become healthier. And our message is about nutrition, and fundamentally it's about eating. Stop in and talk with us. We're definitely going to talk a lot about nutrition. We want to educate the student, the athlete, the parent, answer any questions, and get that athlete started on the road to success.
Find a Max Muscle Sports Nutrition store near you or online at maxmuscle.com.
Time now for our Picks of the Week here on Game Day All Access, and we'll dive right in and talk about the first game here. And it's Oakton at Centerville. Rematch, Bruce Bornarth. Who you taking, man? Can Oakton come up with the big upset and shock the Wildcats at home? What do you think?
No. I like the Wildcats at home. And listen, with all due respect to Oakton people, you can't get on me this one because I've been on Centerville since I did the Centerville-Hayfield game. If you've been paying attention, that's fact. I mean, I have been all about Centerville since that game.
This is why people don't yell at you at the games, because you always, you cover yourself when you make statements.
I cover myself.
Yeah, don't yell at me because I've been on Centerville. Look, dude, just make a statement.
You can yell at me for calling you out all you want, Oakton, but not for picking Centerville. I'm picking Centerville in this game. A.J. Turner, baby.
A.J. Turner. Who you like here, Taylor?
You want a statement, Centerville and a rout.
Oh, Taylor coming back, first show back, says Oakton, you're getting blown out. I don't think so. I think this game's going to be closer than the first time. I do like Centerville at home, but I don't think they get the breaks, and I don't think they run away from Oakton like they did. This game will be closer. They'll make some adjustments. I like Centerville in a squeaker. It might be an instant classic here. All right, moving on to game number 2. Skyline at Kettle Run. Skyline at Kettle Run. Now, 28-6 the first time Kettle Run beat them at home, but remember, Kettle Run lost a couple players that were suspended on their team. And that happened midseason after this game. So maybe it's a little better for Skyline than what it was then. That said, Kettle Run's kind of hot right now. They're playing like the team that we thought they were. What do you like?
Maybe a little better for Skyline, but not enough better. Kettle Run, I said it in a couple segments ago, I think that they really are focused and they feel like it's unfinished business and they're not going to lose this early.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think that's a good statement. I think Kettle Run is going to come in, win the game. They came close last year. They seem to kind of have it together, like Bruce said. Now they got unfinished business. They want to get back to where they were and then some this year.
How much does home field advantage really help Skyline? Hard to say. We just don't know. The one thing that we do know is that in the game against Kettle Run that they lost, they couldn't move the football. They just couldn't score. Now, they did turn the ball over some. Kettle Run forced those turnovers as well. So I like Kettle Run on the road here. They've beaten a couple of good quality teams here the past few weeks. Take the Cougars here on the road, and it's somewhat of an upset here of the top seed. All right, Colonial Forge travels to Stonewall. Stonewall, the best story of the year. Say what you want. Nobody pictured them to be a first-round bye team in the Northwest Region playoffs. Nobody thought they'd be in contention for a regional championship. Nobody. I didn't. You didn't. You'd forgotten that Stonewall played football for a couple years. Here they are back, and they're hosting Colonial Forge. Colonial Forge is a good football team. Who wins?
You know, I like Stonewall in this game. They made me a believer a couple of weeks ago when I picked against them. I wasn't buying into them. They said they weren't going to go undefeated. They didn't, but that wasn't the week that they lost. I still like Stonewall in this game.
I think Stonewall is going to win this game too. I mean, they just have it all together this year. I mean, like you said, I don't even know that they had a football team until recently. I mean, they just seem to be off the map, and then this year they come out of nowhere and really put something together. And from what I've seen, they're really impressive.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with both of you. I think the one thing that I saw last week was that Stonewall lost to Woodbridge in the last regular season game. That concerns me. I'm taking Colonial Forge. I think they're better. I think they're more physical. And I think they beat Stonewall here on the road. That's my upset pick of the week. All right, Liberty at Briar Woods. No Matt Rowland. He's gone. He's out for the year. Briar Woods knows how to play without him because they had to do it early in the season. So now you look back and you go, wow, that kind of helped them a little bit. The guys behind him are going to step in here. Now you get Liberty. Liberty is kind of like that big bully that kind of lost a little confidence for a little bit. But now all of a sudden he's kind of feeling like he's got it back. Look out, Bruce, this is a dangerous game for Briar Woods.
It may be a dangerous game, but Liberty is finding that confidence. They're not sure if it's back yet. They're not totally relaxed and arching that back and flexing those muscles. You know, Briar Woods on a 25-game winning streak. They're 38-3 last 41 games out. Two-time defending state champions. I think their stumble game was last week in the first half against Powhatan. I think Briar Woods is going to come out and take care of business early in this game.
To quote a colleague of mine who's going to remain unnamed, is it the second season?
It's the second season.
Are we talking about the Briar Woods Falcons?
We're talking about Briar Woods. Yeah.
Is it the playoffs?
It's the playoffs.
Briar Woods.
Take Briar Woods. They'll find a way to win the game. Tracy McSorley and crew. Too good here for them to drop the ball game here. All right. Tuscarora at Loudoun County. The Battle of Leesburg here. The Battle of the Burg. Round 2. First round, dominance up front. 21-7. Loudoun County really didn't do much offensively. They threatened a little bit late, but not enough to make you think, wow, they're going to come back and wax Tuscarora. No, that's really not how I look at it. But this is going to be a good ball game. Who are you taking?
Man. This is a tough pick.
It shouldn't be a tough pick because in the prior 2 meetings, Tuscarora has beaten them twice.
Tuscarora has beaten them twice. But as you said, I think Loudoun County has the weapons to win this game. I think Loudoun County offensively can get it done. I saw Loudoun County on defense just shut down running games. They've forced people to the outside. It's very difficult to run the middle on County. Concern I have is the couple of times I've seen them and the couple of times that they've lost this season, I haven't seen the ball in the hands of the playmakers enough. Zoka. I'm not getting enough Zoka. Now, if I get a lot of Zoka this week, then I like Loudoun County. So I'm taking Loco.
You're taking the upset.
Taking Loco.
What do you think, Taylor?
I'm taking the Young Bucks, the new guys on the block, Tuscarora Huskies. I think they're going to take this one.
Smart guy. Let me tell you, I'll say this to you. Zoka in the first meeting had, I think, 1 or 2 catches. That's it. So they got a game plan to take him out of the game. Now, after that, Loudoun County, they couldn't do a whole lot. And that's why Tuscarora will win this game. They also established the line of scrimmage against Loudoun County. And if you look at Loudoun County's losses, Briarwoods beat them up badly. Tuscarora, I got beat up a little bit by Briarwoods too, but not quite as badly. So common opponents, common losses. There's only one for Tuscarora. That was Briarwoods. I'm taking the Huskies at home. I agree with you. The Young Bucks get it done, and they're going to go play for their first regional championship under Mike Burnett. All right, next game, Langley at Stonebridge. Rematch again. It's rematch Friday, people. We've already seen these games one time. Deja vu. Philip Munn coming to town. Take on Jonathan Allen and the defense. That didn't go real well the first time. Who wins this time, Bruce?
What happened the first time?
Spanked. 27-6, I think it was.
Deja vu.
I'm going to have to agree with Bruce. It's like that commercial from the new phone where you ever heard of deja vu?
That's
the
it.
Same case here.
Yeah, I'm with you. Take Stonebridge. This is a 3-4 touchdown, maybe 5 touchdown win for the Bulldogs. All right, South County at Yorktown. Intriguing game here, right? This is kind of like where Yorktown, they've said, hey, all year, nobody gives us any respect. Nobody talks about us. We're undefeated. It's hard to win every game, Bruce. You can't diminish that to people. These kids are going, what the heck? Game Day doesn't ever talk nicely about us. We're undefeated. We've beaten everybody. South County coming in saying, you didn't beat us last year. We spanked you at home. And now we're on a roll. And we're hungry to go knock down Stonebridge again. This is it right here. 6-5 South County against 11-0 Yorktown. There's no way South County should be the favorite going in. But you have them as a favorite, don't you?
This has been going on 2 years for Yorktown. You know, you want a team that really has a legitimate case for where's the respect and the love for Yorktown and the Yorkies. That's the team that really should get the love. This isn't just a one-year wonder. This is 2 years in a row now that Yorktown's been playing that way. And you know what else? It's just 2 years in a row, the same thing's going to happen. SoCo wins it.
You know, part of me really wants to pick Yorktown, thinking that this is going to be the year. Second year they've done it. They'll get it right this time. But I can't bring myself to do it. I'm going to take South County Stallions.
I think this is going to be a great game. I really do. I think M.J. Stewart, the tailback at Yorktown, is one of the best players in the northern region. We probably don't talk about them enough. They're a little bit outside of our, edge of coverage just because they're kind of far away down there from where our headquarters are. But we do follow them. And when you watch them, they're a good football team. They're very well coached. Coach Hansen does a great job. Their schedule strength just kills them. They just don't get anybody during the regular season that punches them in the mouth. And that's what South County's going to do. They're going to line up and punch them in the mouth for 4 quarters. I don't think they can take it. Prove me wrong, Yorktown. I want to be behind you. I want to say, man, undefeated Yorktown next week, taking on undefeated Stonebridge. Boy, wouldn't that be unbelievable? I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to take South County. I think it's a repeat of what happened last year. Athletically, it's a horrible matchup for Yorktown. All right, moving on. Here's the big one down in the beach. Bruce is smiling ear to ear because he loves this one. The Hampton Crabbers, for it seemed like forever, were the talk of the 7-5-7. Nobody beat Hampton. Nobody, Bruce. They're the best team that has ever walked the planet, if you ask people from Hampton. Well, then comes along Phoebus. Phoebus says, the heck with you, Hampton. You have done nothing for us lately. We've been whipping you for a decade, winning all the state titles, all the hardware now lives at Phoebus High School. They beat them 35-21 in their first meeting this year. Hampton's got a second chance at them. The dynasty, will it come to a close this week? What do you think?
You know, I'll tell you who's got Yorktown's back first. Mitch Rogers.
Yeah.
Mitch and his flute or whatever he used to play in the band. Listen, let me tell you something. Hampton Crabbers, you want to talk about dynasties. They have 18 or 19 state championships in football. Far and away more than anybody else in the state of Virginia. They define dynasty when it comes to Virginia football. Yeah, they've been gone. The recent dynasty has been with Phoebus. But you look at Hampton, and Hampton is that team that's sort of like, maybe kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers. Consistently good every year. Consistently with a chance every year and never really go away. Just kind of re-energize. Hampton, I think, is in that re-energized cycle. You talk about hard to beat a team twice in the same season. This, I think, defines that case this season. I like the Crabbers.
You taking Hampton to beat Phoebus? I just woke up. All that I was falling asleep in your talk there. Wow, I'm awake right now. How about that?
I'm going to say that unless Michael Vick himself comes back and puts on a Crabbers jersey, there is not a shot Hampton wins this game.
But Hampton people were saying Ronald Curry was our guy. Remember, he
Absolutely.
was the guy.
Oh, okay.
But you're right, because he's way wrong on this deal. Phoebus is going to wax Hampton. They're going to wax him like they did the first time. It's not even going to be a game. Phoebus, 12-0, sitting pretty. Now they have Lake Taylor around the corner. That could be a little different story. Lake Taylor's been crushing people. But Phoebus looking like a team that's destined for another state title run. Wow, they crushed Hampton this week. All right, Battlefield at Hilton. Mark Cox, he's got a whole different playbook for this week. Tony Lilly is trying to figure out what the heck they're going to run the second time around, because that's what he's done the last couple years. He's come in and he's run different things. He's exploited things they didn't do well in the first game. And now we see the rematch again. Hilton, not quite as dominant as we thought they were going to be, right? We had them number one coming into the season. They've lost a couple times. So is it a far stretch to think Battlefield wins this game on the road when Hilton probably has the advantage athletically, just like they've had the last couple of years? What do you think?
You know, I think we settled this question in fact or fiction. But for those of you that weren't paying attention, and why weren't you? Go back and watch it again. I like Battlefield in this game because it's the second season. To quote my partner over here to my right, this is the second season. This is Battlefield we're talking about. This is the playoffs we're talking about. Don't pick against the Bobcats. Now, yeah, are they going to go 100% in the playoffs throughout the history and all of time? No. But I guarantee if you take Battlefield in the playoffs, they'll win you more games than they lose you.
You know, it's almost like we got a battle of athleticism versus just sound fundamental football. I'm taking sound fundamental football, especially when you got Coach Cox there on the sideline. He gets it done every year. Hilton is just going to keep running into a brick wall as long as Battlefield's in.
Yeah, I'm taking Battlefield. I mean, I just haven't seen enough of a surge from Hilton late in the season. And what I saw out of Battlefield last week, their defense was playing great. They were running the football. You know, my colleague over here just refused to think that running the ball is that big of a deal why you win playoff games. Well, it is, and it's Battlefield's way to win football games. They're going to stuff it down Hilton this week big time. They're going to stuff it right down their throat, and Battlefield will win this football game. There's my upset Captain Obvious pick of the week. Here we go. Chantilly at Westfield. Oh, man. If you're from Chantilly, you know, the night that you lost to Westfield may be considered one of the worst nights of your life because you felt like you won the fight and lost on a technical knockout at the end because one call got you. That's how they thought about it. They thought they got hosed at the end on a bad call. Now, Westfield came across town, and they didn't play their A game, in my opinion. Chantilly exploited them. We called their defense out the next week, remember? Mm-hmm. We said their defense was exposed. Well, since that time, Westfield has closed all those little holes in the proverbial boat on defense. But Chantilly's been waiting, Bruce. They've been waiting. They have been thinking to themselves, man, I just want one more crack at those guys. Now you got it. Who wins the game?
I love me some Chargers, but Westfield, I don't usually pick Westfield. Westfield is one of those teams that's on a mission. Westfield, a championship team stumbles. You're not going to play perfect for an entire season all the way through. It's a great team like a Westfield that can still win despite a little bit of adversity, despite maybe not playing as good as they can. I like Westfield in this game.
All right, so before I give my pick, I'm going to give two reasons why I'm making this pick. Reason number one, Westfield last year was in kind of a similar situation, but except it was against Centerville. And they won the regular season matchup against Centerville, but once playoff time came around, they stumbled, and they didn't get it together. It's almost like they choked. I said it. And and so it's almost like we got the same thing going on here. And another reason why I'm making this pick is because, well, Bruce picked Westfield, so I'm going with the Chargers right here. I'm going with Westfield chokes again in the postseason, and I think that they're going to just – I mean, you see it right here, 56-21 Chantilly over Robinson. I think Chantilly's on a roll, and they're just going to roll right through Westfield.
Let me tell you, if Westfield doesn't figure out how to stop the option game this week against Sonny Romine and that offense, they're in trouble. I mean, they're in trouble. Chantilly can win this game. Taylor's pick is not off. I think this could go either way. My gut tells me to pick Chantilly. And I'm going to tell you why. Because in the playoffs, for whatever reason, Mike Lally,'s club, when they have lost in the regular season and come back and played Westfield a second time, they find a way to win the game. And it's quality coaching, and it's quality adjustments being made in that second round. But the other thing is Chantilly kind of feels like they take a second fiddle to Westfield a lot in the community. And so their kids are angry a lot. You know what I'm saying? They're angry about that. I mean, they don't like that. They like proving that, hey, they're as good as Westfield in everything. And they really are. If you look at their two athletic programs, Chantilly's had great success over the past, let's call it 5, 6, 7 years. Here's the problem, though. Westfield is the more complete football team. They're definitely better up front than Chantilly is. They didn't play like it in the first round, but they are better. So they should win the ball game. But something inside of me is saying, the Chargers can do this. They can do it. But I can't pick you because you didn't do it the first time. So I'm taking Westfield, but Taylor might be right here, Bruce. We might be wrong on this one.
I will say this. Every time I pick Chantilly in a big game, 2-0.
There you go. Chargers feel good about it. Bruce and I picked against you. Taylor picked for you. That's a good omen. And that does it for our picks of the week. We're going to send you to our top plays from last week's first round of the 2012 football season playoffs. Right now, we'll come back and finish this show out here with our Game Day Mailbag right around the corner.
Of course, Stonebridge scouts pretty well, and most high school teams do have certain predictable trends. So now they're going to run the same play again. This time it is caught. He is able to break away and is going down the right side. That is Sherman, and Sherman is going to go. If he doesn't get caught, he gets knocked at about the 5, and he'll go in for a touchdown. Some pretty poor tackling right there at the end, but a little swing pass over.
Now it's a broken eye look. Serenay now drops back into the straight eye behind McSorley under center. McSorley play action, going for Ramos in the corner of the end zone. It's up. Devin Ramos with a catch over the defender for 6. Devin Ramos in the end zone from Trace McSorley, 30 yards out.
Burns is letting them in. Now they're trying to throw right behind him, and that's exactly what happens on the screen pass, and Stonebridge is gone. There is the pass. That one went to number 17. That is Jimmy Higgins, and he goes the rest of the way on that bubble screen for a touchdown. 80 yards for Stonebridge.
McSorley shotgun. Here comes the blitz. Trace rolling right for Ramos. Ramos has it complete. Shakes the tackler at the 40. Down the sideline. Blockers in front. Polk with a block. One man to beat. Ramos still on his feet. 5. Goal line. Devin Ramos twice to the house tonight.
Third down, 4 yards to go coming up here for Westfield. 2 receivers to the far side. There's the snap. Hand off to Richardson. He's going off tackle. He's got himself some daylight. Trying to break a tackle. There he goes. 10-5. Touchdown Westfield. DeLon Richardson had to carry that guy about 2 or 3 yards before he finally let go. And he just does the rest.
As Romine will option right side. Nice toss to Harris as he has a whole lot of space inside the 40. One man on his tail. Dive. Skip to Mailou. Touchdown Harris.
First down at 15. Ball in the 26. Swingle on the flea flicker. Back to pass. He's got a man wide open. Touchdown Bobcats.
That's Charles Husser, number 8. Well-designed play.
There's the snap. It's play fake to Thrasher Walker. Mullins rolling out. Heaves it. Great catch! Down inside the 15. Holy smokes. Devin Burns goes up there and hauls it in. Takes it down all the way to the ground.
McSorley's trying to set up the screen, has it complete to Serenay. Serenay made the first guy miss, got a block from Ramos. Cam Serenay loose down the sideline, cuts it back. Serenay still on his feet at the 10, at the 5, end zone. Cam Serenade!
3rd down, 4 yards to go. There's the snap. Suter back to pass. Looking, he's going to fling it. Going for his man. And it's intercepted! Holy cow! How in heaven's name did Devin Burns come up with that interception?
Hello and welcome back to Game Day All-Access. It's time now for us to talk to you, the Game Day Nation here. And we're joined by Amanda Hewells-Camp, who is in charge of the Game Day Mailbag. Yes. Amanda, welcome back.
Hi, nice to be back.
All right, so we have some questions this week.
Some great questions.
Great
some big
questions. Ones. And some of them are giving Bruce a hard time, some of them, all of us a hard time.
We didn't have the mailbag last week, so
right.
I'm ready to go with this one.
The return of the mailbag.
I am jacked for the mailbag.
All right, so let's
put your hand on
check
the volume
out question
button.
number 1 here. What do we have?
Our first one is from Tusky Terror, and they ask, do you think Tuscarora has what it takes to beat Loco again? If yes, how far do you think they'll go?
And talking about Loudoun County, Loco,
yes.
right?
No, Loco, they're talking about whoever wrote this question. Does Tuscarora have a chance to beat Loudoun County? Of course they have a chance. Is it going to happen? You have to wait until we do the picks of the week to find out. But you know what? The second half of this question, how far are they going to go? Doesn't matter. Whoever wins this game is only going to last another week anyhow.
Well, we'll talk about that a little bit as well. But you know one thing I'll say about this? I mean, look, Tusky Terra, you beat them 2 times in a row, two games in a row. You've won the last 2 meetings. I mean, do they have what it takes to win again? Of course they do. The one question is will Loudoun County be able to stop the running game with Noah Reimers and that offensive line for Tuscarora? I mean, that's your advantage in this game. Now, I think Loudoun County may play it differently offensively. They might try to throw the ball a little bit more on you, which would be smart with Jake Loki back there. But, I mean, you certainly have what it takes to win the game. How far will you go? You know, I think you don't question Mike Burnett and his staff in regional championship games. You just don't. They found a way in the past to get it done when nobody thought they would. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion they can't go a long way. So
you just foregone concluded that they were going to win the game.
Well, they're going to win.
You just put Tuscarora in a regional championship game.
That's what I'm saying. They're saying how far can they go? I mean, they're going to have to beat Briarwoods. I mean, everybody's going to have to beat the bully on the block here. But I'm not saying Tuscarora can't do that. They haven't shown they can. So I'm not picking them. But
you're going to send Loco back out by the Sunoco.
You never know. It only takes one game. That's why they play. Good question, though.
Our second one is from the DC Sports Fan. Would this year's Stonebridge team be able to beat some of the great historic teams in the area?
That's a great question. I don't know if that's an easy answer because we haven't really seen Stonebridge line up against a great team yet. You know, if they beat a Phoebus or if they beat a Hampton, or whoever it is that they would maybe see down the road in the postseason, then I think you go look back on their season and you say, well, yeah, this is one of the great ones of all time. But until this point in the season, I don't know that we've seen them play anybody that we would consider a great football team. Wouldn't you agree?
No, I would not. How often does that happen with Stonebridge? We're not talking about beating a beach team or beating out of the area. It says in this area. Yes, they would have beaten some of the great teams in years past, I believe. And I believe that if you line them all up and you picked all of the great teams, including past Stonebridge teams that we would consider great teams, I think this Stonebridge team would go better than 500 and probably, I would say 750 maybe against the field if you could do it. They're balanced. They play both sides of the football. As always, Stonebridge has a great defense. They've got the best defensive player in the area by miles. They've got a standout on offense that's going to play D1 football. So what are they missing?
Well, they're missing schedule strength. They're missing that one team that would give them a measuring stick, and I don't think they've had that.
Time out.
But no, hold on.
Did they play San Antonio this year?
We talk all. Listen to me. Yes, but we talk all about the 07 Stonebridge game against Phoebus because that's when Stonebridge won their state title and they ended up blowing Potomac out in the championship round. But the fact is we didn't really measure that Stonebridge team as great until they beat Phoebus. Right? And so my point is the competition, they haven't played that team that they shouldn't beat. And then they haven't overcome that yet. So
that's not the question.
That is a question because we don't know yet. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The jury is still out whether or not this is a great Stonebridge team.
Listen to this. will they be able to beat some of the great historic teams in this area?
I don't know yet.
We're talking about the great
I know.
Westfields, the great Chantilly team.
We don't know.
The Oakton team that won the state title, the Stonebridge team against itself that won a state title. I don't think you have to wait and measure against Virginia Beach.
I don't think you can say that because we haven't seen them play a caliber of team of those teams.
Chantilly Chargers, he just said that.
Well, you can say what you want.
He just said
no,
that.
they didn't play Westfield. If they had played and beaten Westfield, then I might have changed my tune on that deal. But they haven't seen the caliber of team that you're talking about yet, so we don't know how good they are. I hope that answers the question. Got us going a little bit. All right, who's next?
Our next one is a colossal one, so are we ready?
I'm ready.
All right. From @T_train96. What is the best single game performance by one player you've ever witnessed?
Oh, this is going back.
Now, hold on.
Great question.
Best question we've had. Listen, all of you wannabe question askers out there, this is the type of question that you should be asking. Not this stuff, is my team going to beat your team this week? That's the picks of the week. That's a whole different segment. And throwing mud and yelling at us about our incorrect picks, fine. But that's not a great question. This is a great question.
So answer it.
Let me answer it?
I'll let you go first.
All right, I thought about this a lot, and I've got several performances to put out there. But there's one. There's only one in my mind that stands out that truly answers this question as number one. I'm going to take a second. I'm going to give you a couple of the runner-ups here. All right, runner-up, Sean Ryan in state championship game. Unbelievable.
He never played in a state title game.
He played in one.
No. Sean Ryan never played in one, but go ahead. But in
Sean,
state playoff game.
All right, well, the playoff.
State semis, you're right.
Sean Ryan, unbelievable poise back there in the pocket. Breon Earl in the state championship game. That was a performance for the ages. Derek Dudinsky, go pick any game in his career. Unbelievable performance on both sides of the football. But you know what the winner is, in my personal opinion? Brandon Hogan in the state championship game against Chantilly.
That's hard to beat. But I'm going to stick with a Chantilly guy in this question here. And it's Torian Pace, 5 touchdowns against Westfield. He just basically took the Chargers on his back and said, we are not losing today. The game was played in the fog. He was running 90-yard touchdowns. He and Jordan Anderson were going back and forth, answering each other. It was unbelievable. By far the best performance of a player that I've seen in this area, in my opinion. I think because of the fact that it looked like Chantilly might drop that game, and he just wouldn't let them lose.
Well, that's the same thing with Brandon Hogan. And this is a great kind of question because you really can't be wrong in it unless you pick some dog out there. But Brandon Hogan, the same kind of thing that he just talked about. I would venture to guess that if Brandon Hogan wasn't in that state championship game, Chantilly would have won.
Well, yeah, considering he scored 5 million touchdowns on the season, of course he was pretty good.
Same thing.
I mean, that's like the captain obvious statement of the year from you. I mean, he was Osborne that year. That's why they won a state title.
Torian Pace did.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not knocking you. I agreed with you. I was there for that game too. I mean, he was dominant. But Torian Pace's performance against Westfield, and here we are coming up on another Westfield Chantilly game in the playoffs. If it weren't for Torian Pace that night, I don't think Chantilly wins that game. So it's a great question, though. I mean, that's the candidate for the question of the week right there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Our next one's not really a question, but I figured it needed to be answered.
Yeah, a little statement. Right.
Yes.
Right.
So it's from ZBurnett_13. Hopefully you guys will cover high school basketball this year as close as you have covered high school football.
Yeah, kind of just putting the feeler out there saying, well, game day, what are you going to do for basketball season, right? And we like it when people kind of throw these comments out there because we'll answer you back. I mean, we don't have anything to hide from. I mean, look, this is what I'm saying to you. Football crowd, we love you. You love us. We feel the love. We give the love. The bottom line is you're there every week and so are we. And we're in harmony right now. I mean, football and game day, they love it. Basketball crowd, we want to introduce ourselves to you. We want to know who you are because for whatever reason, we just haven't seen the same level of interest in basketball when we go to games that we do in football. Now, obviously football is king, but we got to make that change a little bit. Don't you agree, Bruce? It's got to change a little bit.
I kind of agree. And let's start with you, Z. We are taking applications for internship kind of things. Come on, boy.
He can't. I'll tell you who he is. Huh? It's Zach Burnett, who's a great shooting guard out at Fairfax. I mean, this guy can light it up. He can knock it down from anywhere. Taylor Jensen who's here tonight with us. He'll tell you. We saw him in the Northern Region Championship game or Final Four. Kid's unbelievable.
All right, well, I'll take that back. All right,
Yeah.
see, we'll come and see you. But now, listen, to get serious for just a second here. You look at football season, there's a whole week to build up for each game.
Right.
You've got
Right.
that excitement leading up to that game. Basketball, they play Tuesday, Friday, sometimes Tuesday, Saturday if it's a tournament or something. So there's only like 3 and 4 days in between games. It's hard to really do this kind of a show to help generate the interest and stuff in basketball because it becomes irrelevant almost a day and a half after the game is played. So it's really hard to keep up with that and generate that thing from our end. Now, you guys from the other end out there as fans and as student bodies, get behind there, support your team. We'll certainly still take your tweets. Is that what these are, tweets?
Yeah, they're tweets. Yeah, right.
All right, we'll take and answer the tweets all you want.
But the one thing to add to that is that what we find in basketball is a lot of the students, they only come to the big games, right? I mean, they only come to the ones that are, hyped out there. Whereas in football, you usually get a pretty decent crowd no matter who's playing. The thing is like, I think it just needs to improve overall. Like, we're going to make a big effort this wintertime to make sure basketball coverage is fantastic. Now, we'll tell you, we've probably broadcast over 100 games of basketball the past couple of seasons. And I don't know that people would really know that. But again, it's the overall picture. Basketball needs to elevate itself here from all levels. Media coverage, fan support, everybody interacting like they do in football with us. I mean, we'll be there if you want us there. But you got to show up. I mean, you got to be there to make it exciting. That's how I look at it. So, great question, a great statement. The answer is that's our plan. We'll see if you guys show up as well.
And there you have the Game Day self-indulgent infomercial.
There you go. 2 minutes.
Our next one is from the Cougar Nation, and they say, all 3 of you picked Lake Braddock last week. How you feel?
I feel fine. I feel like if I had to do it over again, I would have taken Lake Braddock at home, with Caleb Henderson and that team. I don't question that pick. I mean, am I excited to see Oakton win? Yeah, I think, they're a good football team and they've got good players. Would they still be considered the underdog if they were playing Lake Braddock again this week at home? Yes. I mean, that's just how you pick the games, I wasn't shocked to see Oakton win, but going in, you would pick that game Lake Braddock 9 out of 10 times based on the fact that Lake Braddock beat them a year ago. And, they only had a couple losses early in the season. I mean,
and Oakton inconsistency. I mean, what's the whole point of this question? How do we feel? Feel fine. I mean,
he's trying to point his finger and say, you guys stink at making picks.
You want to slap us around a little bit for being wrong on a pick?
Right.
That's fine. Go ahead.
We can
I'll
take
it.
Yeah.
Knock me around a little bit. So what? Feel fine. This isn't going to make or break my week. Get over it, dude. Get over it.
Yes, it will. They're mad. And it leads us to our next question.
Yes,
right? Because this is about Oakton, too. They're a little upset with us, Bruce. Let's read the next one. Come on.
This next one is
Just a
from
statement.
VA JoJo1. I think we deserve a little more respect this week than what you usually give us.
You're right. You do deserve a little more respect. You went into a higher seed and you knocked down one of the top quarterbacks in the country in 2014. I mean, he's the top pro-style quarterback in the class of 2014. So do you deserve more respect? Absolutely. Are you going to get more respect from us? Absolutely. Does that mean we're going to pick you to beat Centerville, who beat you by 21 points last week or 2 weeks ago? I'm not answering that. But the bottom line is, yeah, that's a statement win. After 4 consecutive losses. So you rebounded nicely. You knocked down one of the top teams. Respect. Hats off to you. Nice win. Not diminishing that at all. But, if you want to get on a roll and have the utmost respect, you gotta beat the top quality teams consistently, not just one time.
Andy said it. Respect is earned. What do you want it on a weekly basis? You got this little respect meter going out there week to week to see how it is. The great teams in the area, the great teams for that matter in any sport out there, are consistent. They're consistently predictable. That is where you get respect. You don't get respect by losing 4 in a row, by starting great and slacking off and then getting excited all over again. I mean, I don't get, what is this with 2 Oakton questions in a row? You guys come up, you lose 4 in a row, you come back and you win a game, and now you want to beat up the rest of us for not giving you any respect because you pulled off an upset? Whoop-de-doo, hallelujah! Oakton won a ball game. Now, why don't you back it up and keep doing it again? And why don't you be consistently good throughout the season? And oh, by the way, why don't you contend for a Concord District title once in a while? Then you might get some respect. And by the way, get out of your mom's basement.
They live at home. They're high school kids. They have to be in their mom's basement. You leave them alone. You can tweet Bruce's, tirade. You can tweet back at us here at GBN Mobile. I tell you what, man. You know what? Somebody.
They asking for respect during a losing streak. These front runners, come out of the woodwork when you have a great game. Where are you when your team's struggling? Where's the respect and the love from you guys then? You wait till you win a big game and then you want to beat us up.
Bruce, does somebody have a bad day with you today? Did somebody yell at you?
This is ridiculous, these two questions.
Yeah. You're just a little fired up. That's it for Game Day All Access. We'd like to thank everybody for watching here. And as always, you can tweet us at GBN Mobile. Check us out on Facebook at the Game Day Nation. And make sure you sign on and watch all the great high school football playoffs here coming up here on the Game Day Broadcast Network. For Bruce, Taylor, and Amanda, I'm Andy Hayes. We'll see you next time.
This exclusive broadcast has been presented by Integrated Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy. Get back in the game of life, the game on the field. Manhattan Pizza, now serving Ashburn, South Riding, and Leesburg with the best dang pizza in the world. By Max Muscle Sports Nutrition. Max Muscle, partners in health. By Online Mental Trainer, Optimal Thinking, Champion Results. Visit ReadWriteTechnology.com. Verizon Wireless, the exclusive wireless network of the Game Day Broadcast Network. Game Day All Access. Become a Game Day MVP member today and never miss another big game. Phenom Strength and Conditioning, where athletes train to exceed expectations. Any reproduction of today's events without the express written consent of Game Day Properties LLC is strictly prohibited. All rights reserved.